So right now I want to talk about why, at least for me, I became so infatuated with my narcissist that it alone was an addiction. And how do we essentially kind of get back to what normal relationships are like without getting quote unquote bored? I think anyone who's been in a narcissistic relationship can relate and can admit to the fact that in these relationships, there's never a dull moment. You are constantly either in a fight, you are constantly explaining yourself to them, you are constantly defending yourself to them. You are constantly experiencing anxiety because of them. They really do consume your whole effing life if you think about it, right? Now, you finally leave the narcissist, you go no contact. What do you find yourself doing? You find yourself sitting there kind of feeling bored in a way. I know I have. I'd sit there thinking to myself like, oh my God, I don't have 45 text messages within the span of an hour. I'm not getting harassed all day, all night. Like, what do I even do? Because a lot of times you're with these people for quite some time. And it's actually really sad because you come to realize that conflict becomes almost a part of your daily life because you are so accustomed to constantly fighting with somebody, defending yourself to somebody. You don't even know what to do when you don't have to do that anymore. So, am I saying by any means that if you are contemplating leaving a narcissistic relationship, stay so you don't find yourself bored? Absolutely not. I will take this newfound time I seem to have so gladly, as opposed to being stuck in my, what I considered personal effing hell. Being stuck in that cycle. I do, however, think it's a little sad that these relationships are so combative so frequently that this is even a thing, And also, from my experience, I'm speaking, of course, because the narcissist does such a good job at living in a life full of lies and deceit, you start to really lose your perception of what your reality is, which is extremely scary. That cognitive dissonance, which I think, everyone has probably heard of at this point. It really does a number on you. It takes a long time. I mean, even for me, I've been away from my narcissist for a while. I see him clear as day for who he is, and now that I start thinking about things, I'm kind of like, oh my God, the way he pretty much made my brain turn to mush was insane to me. Things that he did that I never even questioned, because they methodically have you, what's the word I'm looking for? They have you already disposition to not question them about certain acts or certain behaviors that they might do. You ask them, like, where were you? It's always a runaround answer. my narcissist, he would love to create a fight for nothing, to be able to leave, right? I'd be at home with our baby at the time. He would not answer my calls, or he would straight up block my phone number so I couldn't get through, and then he would just show up at God only knows when, because I would already be asleep. I'd ask, where did you go? Oh, I just went here. I saw some friends. Then we went, to the casino for a little bit. Boopity boopity boo. He did this so fucking frequently that I just was like, I just didn't even think at the time to actually, I don't know, check up on his ass here and there to see where the F he actually went. He was definitely a super, super, super invader of privacy, which I think we all probably can relate to when it comes to them. A person with a guilty conscience is, of course, going to assume that their partner is up to similar or the same exact shit that they are doing. So I have an iPhone, and I have, the thumbprint, unlock feature. And one time I was actually asleep, and I was sick, so I had taken a bunch of NyQuil, and I was knocked out. He actually took my thumb and was putting my thumb on the thumbprint reader because he knew which thumb it was, got into my phone, and it's crazy because I woke up. I don't know how long he was going through my phone before I woke up, but I woke up in the midst of him going through my phone, right? You know what he does? He just throws my phone on the other side of the bed, oh, I didn't touch it. I said, were you just going through my phone? Oh, no, of course I wasn't. No, your alarm was going off, or somebody kept calling you. I was just trying to shut the volume off, Even though clear as day, I was like, no, I saw you actually actively going through my phone. Believe it or not, throwing it across the bed when I catch you doesn't mean that you weren't caught going through it. It never ceases to amaze me, the shit that these people fucking say. I don't think I've ever met another type of human being that is so incapable of taking blame for their actions until being in a narcissistic relationship. It is actually physically impossible for them to take blame. They just cannot do it. And the biggest thing for us survivors is learning how to move on. Without getting that acknowledgement that an average person would typically give to us. For me, that's been extremely difficult, swallowing my pride, accepting the fact that he's never going to admit to me the stuff that I know he did. He is never going to acknowledge and apologize for it. I have to essentially just let it go and in some sense forgive, because I'm doing that for myself. I'm doing that so I can move on, and he is no longer taking any type of occupancy in my mind. And let me tell you, that has been a challenge and a half. For a person who is prideful, such as myself, not that I'm prideful to a exaggerated, braggy type of extent, but if somebody does me wrong, I am wanting to get that apology from you one way or another. You know, don't get me wrong, I'll get it from you. And with him, I've just accepted, bitch, you ain't never gonna get it. So just let it go. Be thankful that you don't have to deal with that shit anymore. And God bless the next.